What's up? What's up? Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Chris Gillibo. Good to see you all. We've got lots of our regulars here, as always. You guys inspire me. Thank you so much for being here, as well as some new people. So right now I'm broadcasting live on YouTube, and it also goes to Facebook and Periscope as well. So hello to you wherever you are in the world. Nice to see. Let's see if I can put some comments here on the screen. There's Delph, there's Rachel, Mandy, Kel Jackson from Facebook. Hey, what's up? HR, I'm your inspiration. You're my inspiration too. Thanks for being out there. Master Gaster from Columbia, South Carolina. Tanya from England. Oops, there you are, Tanya. Hey, it's good afternoon, I believe, to you. More folks from Indiana, lots of places. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Pamela. From ATL, what's up? I miss Atlanta. I think I said that the other day. I'm actually hoping that I can go out on some form of tour this fall. So we shall see. I'm just starting to have conversations with bookstores and such. Obviously, it depends on, specific area restrictions and what's safe and so on. But it would be really fun. I did a live stream with Indigo yesterday. Indigo is the main bookstore chain across Canada. So we did a live stream on their Instagram, and it was fun to see people in lots of different provinces. And I was like, oh, I miss Canada. I miss it. I miss everywhere. But hopefully I'll get a chance to go out there. Hey, what's up, Nikki? Good to see you again. Kurt from San Diego. Doodle reads a bit late. It's like you're like 1 minute late. We're just getting started. You're good. And Marvin Joe back from Periscope and Thailand. Awesome. Good to see you all again as well. Cool. So let's see. What are we going to do today? We've got a question of the day. I've got some websites I want to look at and show you, a couple of ideas, a little bit of a daily lesson with some more ways to make extra money once your side hustle is working a little bit. But overall, the whole theme here for people who are new, welcome, by the way. If you are watching live, you can participate in the comments, which is kind of fun. We're co-creating this together, just like the best work that I've ever made. It's always like one part what I create and one part what other people bring to it in some fashion. And if you're watching the replay, that's okay too, because you should still be able to see some comments. And also I try to keep whatever I'm sharing to be somewhat timeless and relevant. This was originally based on my new book, The Money Tree, and I'm still talking about the ideas in this book. But it's like one part book tour, but it's also, just sharing general ideas to help people find security in an uncertain time, to find possibilities in the midst of, chaos, disorder, etc. So wherever you're watching from, whatever time it is, I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're holding up all right. I know it's a tough time for lots of people, and I do want to be mindful of that. At the same time, I think whenever there's a tough time, it also, presents some opportunities to change and shift. And I'm already hearing a lot of stories of people who are making big changes, during this time and such. So that is my goal here. Let us see. What do I want to share with you at the top of the show? So I have a new reading group guide for The Money Tree, and this should be up. If it's not up now, I think it is now, but if it's not, it will be soon, on the resources page at moneytreebook.com. For anybody who's reading this book with their friends or with a group or who would like to, you can check that out. There's some questions and such. I'm going to do another group meeting, which is a little bit different than this, because other people can be on video. We're talking specifically about their projects. That will be next Thursday. You can sign up at aonc.co/thirdway1. And let's see, in a moment, I'm going to do the website reviews. Where are those at? Oh, but I wanted to mention something else first. I saw this cool story I read yesterday in The Hustle, which is a great news resource, thehustle.co. The man feeding a remote Alaska town with a Costco card and a ship. So there's this guy who owns a very small store in this very small town in Alaska, and it's not accessible by road. You have to get there by plane or by boat, and they kind of got cut off. And so this guy is making these 14-hour round trips by boat to go to the nearest Costco and stock up and come back and sell it. And the article had a lot of interesting business notes in it as well, because it was talking about the profit margin that he had and how he had to find a way to obviously make a living and make it sustainable, but not charge too much, etc. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting to see how people are making it through and finding creative ways to provide for their friends and neighbors. And as I said, also, look out for themselves. Okay, so let us do a question of the day. Oh, and for your comments and such, I kind of periodically go back and forth and looking at the chat on the various networks and such. So I will put more on the screen and have more interaction in a bit. But if I miss your comment or if I don't respond, it's just because I'm doing a few different things here. So I always go back at the end of the day and look and see what everybody has said, and that kind of informs what we do the next day. Speaking of the next day, tomorrow is going to be, like we've been doing every Friday, kind of an open Q&A. I'll have a couple things that I'll share, but it will be more focused on what's on your mind. So if you have a project you want to talk about, or if you have a question that we haven't addressed, let me know and I can plan for that. And then this is day 28. We're going to go to day 30, and then I'm going to regroup a bit. So day 30 is actually going to be on Tuesday. So I will put it up in YouTube. I will schedule it there. And if you're watching on another network, as long as you're subscribed, you should see that. But so day 29 is tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 29 is tomorrow on Friday. And then we won't do Monday, but we'll do Tuesday for day 30. Okay, great. Question of the day. What would you tell your 15-year-old self? What advice would you give your 15-year-old self, or what would you tell? I liked phrasing it that way because, you may not want to give advice, to your 15-year-old self, or your 15-year-old self may not want to take advice from an older version of yourself. But it could be advice, or it could be just something they need to know. Be something totally different. I'm just curious what you would say to that question. So feel free to post your answer if you have one up in the chat. I'll feature a few of the answers, and I will also choose one of the answers in my most biased decision, and I'll pick somebody that we haven't picked before, and I'll send you a copy of the new book. So if you are in the US, I'll send you a print version. If you are international, I will send you a digital version. And if I select you as the winner, you just need to send a quick note to Jed, Jedd, at sidehustleschool.com, and he will take care of that. So what would you tell your 15-year-old self? And I'm going to scroll a little bit because I'm way behind. I'm not behind. I'm just doing other things. Hey, Jessica, what's up? Good to see you as always. I hope everything's okay in Rhode Island. Laura says she was late today because she was reading the book. I guess that's a valid excuse. Laura, or Lisa, is it Lisa? Hope I'm saying that right. Come to Orlando. We are reading your book this semester at UCF, The Art of Nonconformity. I'd love to do that. Let's figure it out. Hopefully I can do that at some point. Yes. Let's see. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Very good. Okay. So let me scroll down a bit. Oh, there's a question. Why do I like ConvertKit versus MailChimp? Let me try to remember that. I'm going to stay on topic for the moment, but I made a note. So there's a 50% chance that I will remember that note. And if I don't, that's why I have a note so I can come back to it tomorrow. All right, so you would tell your 15-year-old self. What would you say to your 15-year-old self? Crystal, don't be afraid to fail. Love it. Angela, I would tell myself to hang in there. Things will get drastically better. Man, I really like that. That's good. My 15-year-old self was not a very happy self. So that advice would be very helpful to me. Mandy said as well, just because there's a 5-year-old piano prodigy out there doesn't mean you're too old now. That's great. Lisa, do not overbuild the size of your home, even though you are mortgage approved. Pamela says, I would absolutely tell my 15-year-old self to start saving money much sooner. That's a lot of pressure on your 15-year-old self, but fair. Take more chances, Terry says. I love it. That's great. Frugalpreneur. That's a great handle, by the way. To get started on my entrepreneurial journey right out of high school instead of waiting to the old age of your 20s. Good, I like it. It's okay to be different from everyone else. Start selling your art. Robin on Facebook says, I waited 30 years making other people wealthy because everyone said you can't make money selling art. Okay, well, I'm glad you figured it out because, even though you didn't start at the age of 15, there's a lot of other people that have been waiting 30 years or longer and still haven't started and still haven't figured it out. So I'm glad you are an example in that way. Stop smoking. You tell your 15-year-old self to stop smoking. I was a very committed smoker at age like 13. It lasted like a few months. It didn't go very far, and I stopped, So age 13, smoking, never since. These are some good answers. I know I need to go on, but I love what people are saying here. Don't assume the traditional path is the best or proven way to earn money. Stay balanced and experience well-being. That's great. Be prepared for a lot of surprises. Sean says, follow your gut every time. Every time is bold, I got to say, because I would say follow your gut most of the time, but sometimes that hasn't always been good for me, but that's good. Respect that. I want to let's see, I had a couple that I really liked earlier. Okay, I'm going to scroll back because I just love what you guys are saying here. Hector Music, I would tell myself to be more compassionate. So I like that as well, just like the previous person who started us a while back and said, I forget exactly how it was phrased, but like, it's going to be okay, don't worry too much. My daughter would say, don't be afraid to speak up. Linda, I explore your career options. Wow, these are such good answers. That would have made all the difference. Okay, for the sake of moving on, let me go back, because what was that answer that I really liked in the beginning? Let's see. I got a little distracted because it was, yeah, okay. Sorry for the delay there. So Angela, I don't think we've chosen you as the winner before. If we have, then you'll get another book, but I would love to send you a copy of the book. If you already have it, that's awesome. You can give this copy to someone else. So just send a note to Jed. I would tell myself to hang in there. Things will get drastically better. Like I said, I didn't have a great 15-year-old life. But now it's like, I wish I too could say, hey, I don't have any advice for you, 15-year-old Chris. Like, you're going to figure stuff out. You're not going to listen to advice anyway, right? But things will get better. So, yeah. And then maybe that's like relevant for us now, right? Maybe that's relevant for like all of us. Like, things are going to get better. If things are difficult, if things are worrisome, anxious, etc., things will get better. Okay. So let us see. Website review. Website review, now known as website feature. Let's see if I can hop over here. Okay, good. I am there. It looks like you can see and hear me. Perfect. So I look at three different things. Two of these are upcoming stories on Side Hustle School, but there are different things I liked about each one. So let me see if I can go over here. Okay, cool. So this is just a fun project. I really enjoyed working on it. Her website is Rage Against the Manuscript. So this is a woman who is a paranormal romance author who has self-published a lot of books. She's doing like 5 books a year. Some of them are kind of shorter word counts, but still very impressive. And if I scroll down, I'm going to take myself off the screen just for 1 second. There we go. If I scroll down, she's got a bunch of courses, but mostly I was interested in her actual books, her paranormal romance books. The fun thing about her, well, there's a lot of fun things about her. In the story, I was like, it seems like she's like 4 or 5 people. So she's from New Zealand. She is a fan of heavy metal music and has traveled the world to all kinds of heavy metal concerts. She's also into medieval sword fighting, and she happens to be legally blind as well. And it kind of goes on from there. So when I was working on her story, I was like, wow, this is such a great story. And I went to look at her website and I was like, this is really a well done site as well. So in addition to writing her own books, she has provided a lot of resources for other writers and those who are interested in doing self-publishing. So great website, really fun project. And I think somebody said the site name is awesome. Yeah, rageagainstthemanuscript.com, right? That's pretty cool. So check that out. Next one I want to look at here. Bring myself back. Great. So this is an Etsy shop. Etsy.com/AnnandJoy, ANN. So I believe it is 2 sisters, Ann and Joy, from Miami or New York. They're from Miami and they live in New York, or they're from New York and they live in Miami. I forget which one it is. And so they have done, I always like to look at Etsy sellers that are successful as well as artists who are successful, because I hear from so many people who, are struggling in this world, and yet some people are doing well. So they've had, I think, is it 5,000? Yeah, more than 5,000 sales on Etsy. And they do this particular kind of jewelry with resin and flowers that, as you can see, is pretty distinctive. It looks a lot different from a lot of things that you may have seen before. I'm pretty sure they have their own website as well. And so I wanted to mention them because, one, it's a story that's coming up. It's pretty interesting. 2, I like the design. I like the aesthetic. 3, they have found a way to be pretty successful. And the last thing I wanted to say is I seem to recall in the story that they are struggling a bit now because of COVID-19 and people just buying less stuff. And so I mentioned that because as much as I want to highlight, here are some people who are doing really great, and here are some people who have found a way to adapt and transform and shift and so on, it's fair to say as well that this is just a tough time. And so what I'm finding in a lot of questions I get from people who have a business that's already successful, or something was working a few months ago and now it's not working as well, and they're kind of freaked out about that, understandably. But I think it's just good to remember that everybody is buying less stuff right now. The economy is really bad, pretty much no matter where you are. I mean, I'm in the United States, but a lot of countries are having a hard time. And so for a lot of businesses, it's just going to be a bit of a slowdown or a pause, essentially. It doesn't mean there's anything fundamentally wrong with their jewelry or their marketing or anything like that. It just means that people are going to buy less for a while. And so I think just understanding that can be helpful, and realizing it's not totally your fault or anything. Let's hop back here. And then I think there's just one more thing I wanted to mention, one more website. I see a couple of comments here. I will come back and comment on the comments. So feel free to jump in at any point and share your observations and such. So the last project, which is, mostly a personal project, but I thought it was interesting. He shared it with me on Twitter. This is a guy named Houston. And Houston is a fan of history, and he has a quest. I love quests. To read one biography of every U.S. president this year. And so he's doing this project of reading 44 books, and then I think he's writing about them here. On his blog, ilovethepresidents.com. A couple of comments. I think it would be helpful, so that with the blog structure where you're providing an excerpt, I think it's helpful to provide a longer excerpt. He's got one sentence here, and it might be good to just provide more of a paragraph, which is easy to do in WordPress in the excerpt field. There's a way to customize that. And I think he's including a few things he has for sale on eBay over here on the right, which is good, but I might include, let me click one of these links here. I might include some more affiliate links to the books on Amazon or elsewhere, just because if you are building up this project, people might want to support you and click them. It's probably not going to be a ton of money, but it's something. So fun little project, fun little quest. Love seeing people doing different interesting things like that. Okay, so let's see. So let's see here. I noticed this comment from Rachel. Those prices look a little low for jewelry. I think you're probably right. I also think they've been doing it for a little while, so I think they did some testing and such. So maybe they found the sweet spot, but you're right. I also think, generally speaking, jewelry should be more. Delph says, do you think it's good to show 10 people have this in their cart? So that's just a little trick. Basically, it's a trick to kind of stimulate demand, or to show, or to present the perception. Let's say present the perception that a bunch of other people are buying this right now, or they're interested in it. So I think things like that can work as long as they're not overdone so much. If you said 1,000 people have this in their cart, right now, then nobody's going to really believe that, right? But if if you do want to show like there is activity happening, like one of the things that we're doing. So Nikki's on the stream. We're building out this site, moneytreebook.com, this book registry, which I haven't talked about a lot recently, but it's still in the works. We're going to do some redesign and some other features to it. One of the things that we're doing is what's called persuasive notifications. And persuasive notifications are what you see on a lot of e-commerce sites that show like, hey, here's some, like so-and-so, Rachel and wherever, Dean, wherever, just purchased this item, or 4 other people have this in the cart, or so-and-so requested this, or whatever. So what we're going to do on moneytreebook.com is, and you can already see like an initial version of it, is showing like so-and-so requested a book and this person sent the book, and here's what's happening. So anything that presents a sense of dynamic activity, a sense of other people are interested in it, then that can be helpful. Let's see here. Catherine says, hey, Catherine. And Kiara says, did I start in self-publishing for my books? I love the website Rage Against the Manuscript as inspiration to go for it myself. My experience perspective would be great. So I started self-publishing content, like my blog, self-published. I did some guides, like I wrote some guides under this brand, Unconventional Guides, that were self-published, and I was making like products and such that were all self-published. But in terms of my books, I pretty much from the outset, I had the goal of working with a traditional publisher. And it's not that I thought that is the superior way or the only way. For me, it was just like one of the few business goals that I had when I started my blog, because it wasn't a business. It was just my personal, it was like the president's guy. It was like, I want to go visit every country. And I'll write about it here or whatever. But one of the only business goals I had was like, I want to write a book. And for me, at least at that time, this goes back like 10 years, like I want my book to be in the bookstore. Like that's what I was thinking. And it is theoretically possible to have self-published books in bookstores, but it's a lot more difficult. And I wanted to, it's not just about that. I also wanted to work with a partner that had a lot of experience, who knew how to do distribution. I had the vague hope that my book would one day be translated in different languages and such. And I knew that I needed to have a traditional publisher for that. So basically with my book career, I've always worked with traditional publishers. With lots of other stuff, I've done my own thing. Okay, I see more comments, but let us keep rolling here for the moment. Wanted to share a couple of things. So we're going to do a little bit of a quick recap, since this is a 2-part series. Day 28. Let's see if something happens when I click the button. Dun, dun. This is going to give me an exercise in, let's go change this back one more time. An exercise in working things out live. How about that? Oh, I see what happened. Great. I totally see what happened. So now you get to see me go through the slides in reverse order, but I'm going to fix that real quick. Let's see. Unfortunately, with this software, there's no way to, like if you practice things before, there's no way to like, okay, go back to slide 1, right? You have to actually go through all of them. So there we go. Sorry about that, but now you actually got to see everything. It was like, metamorphosis there, the matrix. Get to see everything in reverse order. Okay, so yesterday we talked about, once you got something that's working, what can you do to make more money with it? And this is a really fun place to be, because it's often easier to remix your offer in some way, like I'll show you here, than it is to develop something completely new. So a couple of examples that we talked about yesterday is like if you have this Spanish speaking class, speak Spanish by 4 p.m., maybe you do another language, maybe you do an advanced or intermediate version, maybe you create a complementary product for these same people who are buying the existing product, or maybe you do personal tutoring. So you've got a product and you turn it into a service, or you got a service and you turn it into a product. You can also, and I'm going to go pretty quickly through these first things since we talked about them more yesterday. You can also add an upsell. Thanks for buying this for a limited time. Get this special unpublished offer. It helps people to feel special because it's only being offered to them. It's not publicly available, and it is a substantial discount usually. A cross-sell is different from an upsell because it's being sold at the same time as opposed to later. It's like if you're buying something on Amazon and like you bought this, people who bought this also bought this, this thing that goes with it. So add an upsell, add a cross-sell, and we talked a bit about pricing tiers. Which version would you like to purchase? That's one of the easiest things you can do to increase your average income per sale, is just say, here's the basic version and here is a deluxe version. And you can get more complicated than that, but just by doing that, like Kiara was asking about my self-publishing, when I first started selling guides, it was very, very rudimentary, very basic. I had one guide out called the Discount Airfare Guide or something. And then the second one I did was the Unconventional Guide to Working for Yourself. And for that one, I decided, okay, I'm going to create 2 versions of it. And if I'm not mistaken, the basic version was $29 or $39, and the deluxe version was $58. So a little bit of a difference there, not a huge range, but a significant difference. I think it was like 29 or 58. And if you bought the deluxe version, then you got some extra stuff, some other materials, maybe a couple of like audio things I made. And that just made a huge difference because a lot more people purchased the higher version than the lower version. And so then the average sale price is somewhere in between those 2 prices. It just helped out a lot. Okay, so a couple more things to add to today. I showed you this guy's website yesterday. A couple more things to add to today. Another thing that's pretty easy, especially in the service business, especially if you're doing coaching, consulting, raise your prices. Like this is a common story. When I did a lot of research for the $100 startup many years ago, went out and interviewed, hundreds of people, hundreds of consultants, freelancers, et cetera. And almost uniformly, they said, I was afraid to raise my prices because I had these existing clients and they'd been my clients for years. And I knew I needed to raise my prices, but I was afraid to do it. I kind of apologized when I did it. I was like, I'm so sorry, but I got to raise the price. Just like everything else in the world, the price always goes up. That's just how it works. And pretty much they said, everybody was fine with it. Like I lost very few clients. And some of them even responded to say, you should have done this earlier because, everything else in the world, the price goes up every year. Why haven't you raised your prices? And so if your customers say something like, why didn't you raise your prices earlier? That's kind of a sign that you should have actually done that earlier, right? So when you do this, some people might complain. Most of them are going to completely understand, but almost all will continue to purchase. So if you've got a price that's been working for a while, don't be afraid to raise it or at least test it out a little bit. And when people think about growth, they think about this for the most part. They think about how can I sell my same thing, my Spanish course, my widget, my whatever it is, to more people? How can I widen the audience? And not a bad thing to think about at all. You want to reach new audiences. You want to reach new people, especially if you have something that is working. When you have something that's working, that's when you start thinking about how can I spend money on Facebook ads or on Google ads or Instagram or some other form of advertising. You don't really think about it beforehand because if it's not working, if it's not converting at a rate that allows you to be profitable, it certainly doesn't make sense to spend money. But this is when you start thinking about that. It's like, okay, it's working, so how can I widen the audience? I actually think it is more effective or at least as effective and much less noticed or how can we say it, underestimated. People are always thinking about widening their audience and they think a lot less in terms of selling more to existing customers. So that kind of goes back to that remix thing about, how can you remix the offer? What other solutions can you provide your customers? The people that have trusted you, the people that have benefited from your help, what else can you make for them next? I think thinking about that is a lot easier than thinking about how can I reach more people. I mean, you should obviously be doing something, for each one of those things. Like what's my one task I can do today to widen my audience? What's my one task I can do to, better serve my existing customers or clients? But your existing customers and clients already trust you. They already have that relationship. And so a lot of business owners that I've seen that have chosen to not really, build a wide audience, but just go really deep and like keep creating more and more solutions and products for that audience, they can actually build a more sustainable business than the people that are always trying to like grow and widen their audience. So there are some ways to make extra money when things are going well, or at least you have a product that is converting. We'll talk a little bit more. I have one more of them I'm going to share with you tomorrow, but that is that. So let's see what's on your mind. And then I have a daily challenge, which is not that different from yesterday's. But I am curious if anybody has implemented any of these ideas, or if you have followed up on any other daily challenges that we have had in recent days. I'm going to take a few moments to read some of your comments here. And Sean mentions raising prices when the value is there filters out the price-sensitive, time-consuming customers too. Yes, absolutely, 100%. Totally true. Existing customers are the low-hanging fruit. Corrine said that. These slides are the new 9 ways, yes. Let's see. Oh, Karen says, what's the software you're using? I'm using a couple of different things. Right now, the main software that I'm using is Ecamm Live. But I also use OBS and a few different plugins and such. It's been a whole new world for me to learn all about this stuff. Pam had the same question. That's the answer for that. And then I use Restream.io to go from YouTube to Facebook and Periscope so that we're reaching more people that way. And then I'm using a couple of plugins from a company called Streamlabs that allow me to put the comments on the stream on the stream like that. Here's a good suggestion from 3GXD. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. A question of the day idea. If your life was a movie or book, what would the title be? That's pretty cool. Write that down. I'm going to steal this question of the day from you, which I think I can do since you volunteered it. Movie title. Hold that thought. You might see it tomorrow or Tuesday. HR says, people love to read my books, but they're not available. They're not available in your country. So I'm sorry about that. I will try to come to your country and bring my books. But you can actually go to a bookshop in most countries and ask for any book that's published by a major publisher. You should be able to go even in your country and say, I want to get The Money Tree by Chris Guillebeau, and they can look it up and order it, almost always. Oh, this is a good comment from Laura. She says, you all have a healthier attitude about items being sold out than I do. To me, it looks like someone took it out of my cart. Does not make me happy. That's funny. I think I forgot to mention, maybe I did, but when I showed that guy's website yesterday, it was like Funny Finance Guy or something like that. When he showed his Amazon listing of his book, he actually had kind of photoshopped this thing that said not sold out on top of it, which I thought was cute. Lisa says, how much was I able to make on average weekly or monthly with eBay? So this is going back quite a ways. Literally it's going 20 years. So it was, like the year 2000 when I started selling on eBay. And, I was 19, 20 then. And I think... I'm trying to think. I'm going to give you a specific answer. I'm just trying to think it through. I remember the beginning. It was like I can make a few $100s doing this, and like the hourly rate was like $15 an hour, 15 to 20. And at the time, for me, I was like in college, and my last job was I was earning $8 an hour minimum wage, a little bit more than that maybe. And so for me, it was like, this is twice as much as my existing job, and I don't know what I'm doing. If I get better at it, probably I can do more. And so I think within a few months, I got to where it was like $1,000 a week or so. And then maybe eventually it was more than that. It was never like multiple six figures, when I was 20 years old or something. But for me, it was a lot of money. For me, then it was like, this is pretty cool. I can, I was playing music. I was like, I can play music at night. I can like do this little auction thing in the day. I can study more about business and learn. That started a lot of things for me. Okay, wow, it is 9:35 my time. Oh, Delph said, by the way, so this is a shout out to Nikki because he made this book registry. I love the graphic of the book flying from donor to recipient. Yeah, that's all Nikki. And like I said, we're gonna keep working away. We actually are gonna have a call tomorrow to talk about it some more. Okay, any final questions? Oh, here's the daily challenge is the same as yesterday, because yesterday this is a two-part series. So I want to encourage you to choose at least one of these ideas. Maybe today it's raise your prices. Maybe it's to think about how you can better serve your existing audience, or something like that. Whatever it is, I want to encourage you to do something about it, because it always makes me happy. And not just that it makes me happy for you to take action, it's going to be better for you to take action. Let's see here. What else? Okay, good. So this is a whole thing. We could spend a lot of time on it. We don't have a lot of time, but Tanya says, this is great to talk about tomorrow. So Tanya, if you'll be with us tomorrow, can you ask this question towards the beginning of the broadcast, and we can talk about it some more? Should I sell my new product on Amazon or via my own website? I don't know how to make that decision. So we can talk about how to make that decision, and if you can share a little bit more about your product tomorrow, that would be great. Let's see. Sam the Stimulus, what's up? Any good examples of squeeze/landing pages? Try to put that down. Eric, good to see you. If I'm not mistaken, Eric, you're watching from quite far away. Okay, great. I see lots of other good questions and comments there. I will try to return to some of them tomorrow. But if you come back tomorrow, we will start from the top and pretty much do a lot of question and answer for the whole time. I'll share a couple of things, but most of it will be all interactive. If you're watching later, hope you enjoyed the stream. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for being awesome. I forgot to say earlier, please hit the thumbs up button. But look, a lot of you already did that, which is so cool. Thank you for doing that. Hit the thumbs up button. It shows YouTube people are out there and such. You can do that on Facebook as well. You can subscribe on Periscope if you're watching there and send me some super hearts or regular hearts or any kind of hearts. I don't quite know how the heart thing works, but whatever it is you can do on Periscope, that is awesome. Michael, this is a great question. What business would you tackle now, starting fresh? Let's talk about it tomorrow. Same time, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Be sure to do something today to get closer to that goal that you're working towards. Do whatever it is that you can to create the product, the service, the offer, build security for yourself during this time. It's a weird time, but the thing is, we're all in it together. So I'm grateful to share these moments with you, with those of you watching live and those watching on the replay as well. So have a wonderful day, and I hope I'll see you tomorrow.